Hello and welcome to your incredibly punctual episode of Admit One.
I just hate how the colours have gone all fuckety.
Well, blame your friend for fucking with
I
the
do.
camera.
I do. I entirely blame Vinny for fucking with the camera. What he made looked great, but it's made this look less great. So I need to do some fucking again. Wasn't what I meant.
This is why it takes me forever to leave after the show.
Well, after the show today, I'm going to show you the fucking that Vinny did. So
I see.
you talk. I'm going to fix the mic levels. Because look how loud I am in comparison to you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You've only just got back from a romantic weekend with the in-laws. Yes, I'm not sure how romantic a romantic weekend can be with the in-laws present.
Well, I do have a story, actually.
Oh, go.
So we were waiting to watch the... I'm still too loud. We were waiting to watch one of the fireworks shows. We're just chilling, in the park, looking at the big Tower of Terror, which is where the Avengers projection fireworks show with drones, by the way. It was fucking cool. Show was. And we were waiting. And Camilla's dad, I was standing in front of Camilla's dad, and he rested his phone on my head to use, line up as a camera shot, right? Because he was going to film it. And Camilla's mum went, "You are a tripod." And I just turned to her and went, "Your daughter shares too much."
Dearie me.
There were many moments like that, actually. I was like, they can't murder me. We're in Disneyland.
They could murder you. They could hide your body in It's a Small World. You'll never be seen again.
It was closed for renovations. It's fine.
Even better. Even better. They're going to renovate. Oh, this is a realistic statue.
And he's got 3 legs.
Christ alive. Christ alive.
Wasn't the worst joke I made on the trip, but the other joke I'm not sure is stream friendly.
No, nothing ever is. Nothing ever is. These days, nothing. If you want to believe what people say on the internet, nothing's fucking friendly for anything anymore.
It's true.
It's all just, oh, you can't say this, you can't do that. Oh my God, you eat lettuce. You're a fucking paedophile. Cancel him.
I had lettuce for dinner.
Therefore, according to the internet's bylaws that I just made up,
The internet has bylaws.
you are David.
All right, fair enough.
Except he doesn't eat lettuce, he eats people. I'm really, really fucking tired.
I can tell. It's okay.
We're here to talk about The Last of Us. Episode 8. It has a title.
Can't remember what it was.
No. Something to do with
Find out.
David.
Let me check.
Was it just called David?
The Last of Us. IMDb is being...
I also don't know why I've suddenly decided I need to say the title. I've not done it once.
Yeah, but I want to know the time. Oh, you fucker. No, I don't want to know what next episode is called. It was called When We Are in Need.
Sure.
9.4 on IMDb currently.
Strong.
Left Behind is a 7.4.
That's because that got review bombed for being
See what the 1 out of 10. What a waste of time. 1 out of 10. So boring. Move to plot 0. Acting 0. Cheesy, cringy, insufferable. I'm just going to push through this episode hoping it gets better, but the girl with all the cussing feels so forced. I think it's bad casting. She's just too happy and innocent. It's hard to watch. I really like everything about this show so far, but since the lead character girl came on the screen, I have not enjoyed every time she speaks. I've enjoyed everything about this show other than the main lead character. Whoever cast these characters needs to be fired. Or maybe is the directing. Someone dropped the ball. That's all I know. This episode just pushed me over the edge to where I had to say something. You've said nothing! I hate humans.
I also hate humans. Because, funnily enough, no one has anything abjectly different and bad to say about the episodes that aren't about gay people. I think you do normally say the episode. Fucking do I? That's how tired I am. I don't even remember what I do normally.
Why do TV and filmmakers think it's okay to make shows in such darkness? Currently, as the actual show wasn't dreary enough when the picture is almost impossible to watch.
What?
But I've seen a lot of people complain about TV shows looking too dark. I've never had it. Even on the things that people say it's too dark. Like, just fix your TV. Your TV settings are fucked then, aren't they? Take off all the weird artificial shit on your TV and just use your TV properly.
But the episode that was lit up by neon lights.
Yeah. But it's like, I saw people, the thing you sent me, that one of the big negative feedbacks on the second episode of The Mandalorian was it's too dark. And I've looked into it, and I've looked at a clip of it on my TV. I was like, this is not too dark. It's dark. It's not too dark. I can't not see it. Like, your TV settings are fucked.
To be fair, there was a Game of Thrones episode that was too dark.
I'm aware of the Game of Thrones episode. I think that's an exception.
Yeah, oh, yes.
Because that was a clusterfuck.
Yeah. I agree. Anyway, what did you think about this episode of Tilau?
Sorry, I just got to go after this. One more 1 out of 10 from last week. Right. When one of the main characters potentially fatally injures, the questions I have as a viewer are: 1, is he or she going to survive? 2, how will they take care of the injury? 3, how will the injury impact their journey? 4, what are the increased risks of running into zombies? You're going to ask question 4 over every TV show where someone gets injured, are you? But we don't receive the answers to these questions, not until the next episode, probably. Why does that make it? Yes. The point. Seriously.
People come up with such nonsense to not just go, I'm a homophobe.
Yes. What you ask me? Episode 8. I actually thought it was really fucking good.
Yeah, I thought it was
really fucking good. I was a bit concerned at first when it opened hard on David, and I was like, they're doing what I was worried they were going to do, and they're going to give too much. But they didn't. I think they
actually didn't.
Just the right.
I mean,
amount.
I still don't think any of that extra stuff was needed.
I needed
or added any. Like, I don't think it was.
I think it was really fucking good though, and I think it made this David, but you know what I mean, the David in this show as opposed to the David in the game. This version of David.
That was pretty clear by this David. Yeah.
Just check. Some people are idiots. More evil. He felt more evil to me,
which is why I actually think the game version is better.
Interesting. Why? Tell me more.
So I think there was a subtlety to David in the game. Gone.
I think there was subtlety in this as well.
I don't think there was any subtlety whatsoever because they literally spelled out everything that was evil about him as part of conversation in words.
They do that.
Yeah. Which they don't say anything. They don't say anything about the cannibalism or the...
Oh, yeah, it's all done in environmental stuff.
So it's all...
But I do think...
You can do the... It's not environmental, it's implied.
Yeah.
Like, by the trying to chop him up into tiny pieces and Joel seeing those bodies.
Yeah,
like, it's implied.
Guess they could have done all the stuff where so-and-so brings in a pot of meat and he's like, it's venison, and just those lines would have been enough.
Yeah, and
without ever explicitly saying...
Yeah, and even the ear, like, that was a bit much. That's not, like... But fine, that then... Again, implies what's happening.
Isn't there an ear on the floor in the game?
I don't think so.
I vaguely remember there being something like that, but I might be muddling up.
Don't think so. I think it was just the conversation about chopping them up into tiny pieces. That's straight from the game.
You find the bodies
as
of Joel
you find the bodies, and I think you get that first.
Yes.
That's what implies the...
I think you're right.
The cannibalism, I believe. And then the other rather problematic side of David, again, is never mentioned. It's just very much... kind of like, oh, did he? Is that what he was trying to do? Because obviously Ellie just says he tried to, and then it couldn't actually. And you can kind of get that by the way he was just kind of like holding her down and everything. But for David, the struggle is the best part. Like, you kind of get the part that David in the game isn't strictly speaking evil, he just has absolutely nothing. No line.
Yeah.
In this new world, he has absolutely no line. Whereas in this, he's just evil. I do find it funny that the most evil person and the most evil thing in all this show is just a preacher.
I ain't saying nothing.
I am.
Yeah, I ain't said nothing because I don't need to. This one's loud enough.
Yes. Religion is dumb. There we go. That's.
I really liked it though. I mean, like, although I don't disagree with it there, I don't think any of that is a bad thing. I don't think it took away from anything. So.
I don't think it was a bad portrayal of David by any stretch of the imagination. I just think that the game kind of did it better. I like the nuance. I like the subtlety. One of my big things about this show that I've brought up in a few episodes is just there's no subtlety to everything. All the things that were just implied and left for you to infer and work out. I get the stuff that was obviously there via environmental storytelling in the game. You can't do that really, so that you obviously have to kind of bring that more into script and dialogue and things like that. But things that were just, they've changed some stuff in very odd ways. I don't know.
I don't disagree with you, and I was thinking to myself the other day. I do think, personally, I still prefer the game's version of this.
Oh, by
story.
a country mile. Yeah.
But how much of that is just down to the fact that that's what I already know and love? It's hard to say.
It is hard to say. If I were to think about it objectively, there are things that I think. Obviously, there's only so much objectivity that can be employed to this, but I think there are the things from the game. Even if you remove all gameplay elements, are done better in the game.
No, I agree.
They're like everything. I don't think there is a thing that was altered or changed or added that is therefore better in the show. I think everything is better in the game. Like the performances, the way things happen. I think everything is better in the game. Obviously, how much of that is we got the game first. We played the game first, and it's something that we love so much.
Yeah. It's really hard to detach yourself when it's something you're that attached to.
Of course it is, yeah.
Like really difficult.
Of course it is, and there's things that are verbatim in the show. I'm just like, ooh, because it's different, like not because it's bad.
Yeah, I think that's kind of an uncanny valley type thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely is. Because you're just like, oh, you said that weird. Why'd you say that weird? Like from the beginning, like. It is over, Tess. It's like, no, it is over, Tess. Like, that line is yelled. And, like, we get the one time Pedro Pascal actually yells as Joel in this episode. And I'm like, he doesn't yell. He's calm here. Which is why in the game, that is so fucking unnerving, that scene. Because he's just so calm.
Yeah, I mean,
don't get me wrong. I think
spoilers here.
Yeah. That scene in the show. Don't get me wrong. We're still fucking excellent.
What we're talking about here, is when Joel is interviewing the two guys, interrogating the two guys to find out where Eddie is. I loved that scene in this. Thought it was really good.
I do think it was really good in this.
And it's like the tone's different. The game is unnerving and unsettling. This is a bit more brutal, a bit more full on, maybe. I don't know what the right terminology is here.
I know what you mean, though.
It's angry.
Again, like
it comes across more angry and energetic than the game, which is the game. The game plays its part, and Troy plays his part in the game so much more subdued.
He's a calm angry, when he's completely
almost
lost
patient.
It.
He's almost patient.
Yeah, when he's completely lost it, he gets calm, which is like, and there are people like that in the world, and it's scary.
Yeah, that's scarier. Yeah,
it's way scarier than someone who's shouting at you.
Troy Baker's also very good at that. I think one of his other roles that I think is not overspoken about enough, that I think is great, is Pagan Min in Far Cry 4. I think he's excellent, and 99% of that role is him being very, very calm and understated. Which is
also
scary.
Makes his freakouts
more
impactful and scarier.
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't happen.
Yeah. This guy's lost it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I agree. And you get a lot of that with a lot of his different characters as well, to be fair. But no, I do think this scene was still fucking great.
Because the concept of what's happening. Yeah, it's so exactly. It's that. It's the whole concept of what he's doing here is that at this point, he wants to just get payback. He just wants revenge and nothing else.
Oh, yeah.
And we haven't seen that from this Joel yet. And this was something I was saying in earlier episodes, is we haven't yet seen this Joel just like, I now want to be violent. Like, everything we've kind of seen from him, other than the first episode maybe, has very much been I don't want to be doing this, really, but I kind of need to. Much like with the old guy, who was like, please don't make me kill you, but all right, fine, we have to kill you, so sort of thing. And then now we're at, no, now I want to do this.
Poor Nick.
Yeah, that was weird. This is an inside joke there. So yeah, I think seeing that other side of him here works really, really well. And I do think Pedro plays it really well. Very different to Troy, but I do think he plays it really well.
I still think it's very good.
The bit when he does shout, "What town?" Just shouts in his face, staring at, "What town?" Like, it's really good. It worked. Came across really well for me.
I literally, that happened. I just went, oof. Like, oof, yes. I love it. Someone who can act shouting. Like, I don't mean like pretend shouting. That's not what I mean. I mean act while shouting. Yeah. I think, there's just something about a good shout that just sells something. And I feel like people don't shout enough in shows. And that's like, that's been one of my things that has been really the uncanny valley, is when he doesn't shout. Because Joel does shout quite a few times. But there are some things. We'll talk about it more in the finale. What a shocker you're a fan of shouting. What a shocker you're a cunt.
This episode, for me, is really Eddie's episode, though, again. I mean the
whole show is Eddie's show.
It is Eddie's thing. But I think Better's great in this. This is my favourite episode of Better, personally.
Really?
Yeah.
So I think it might be one of my lower ones. There was just a bit when she's got Sam and David, James and David at gunpoint. I just think everything there was just like, I think that was your first take.
I
could tell
that was one of my favorite parts of it, because of, like, for me, what she's portraying there is a 14-year-old girl who's trying to be something she isn't, who's trying to be hard, who's trying to be intimidating.
It just felt weird. It just felt
for
off,
me, it came across really well. I actually had the total opposite reaction to that. I thought her performance there was brilliant and quite nuanced, actually, of just this kind of like, of it not being quite right, of it being off almost deliberately, like, which is why David and James see right through her. Like, come on. Like, yeah, okay, you got a gun pointing at me and you're talking big, but whatever. I think that comes across really well. I think in the game, Ashley Johnson's Ellie here in this moment is actually more intimidating. Whereas I think the idea that she's trying to be intimidating but isn't, I think works better in this particular moment. This is when she's, as you say, the deer's there, and old Troy and David.
This is fair.
No infected either again?
Yeah, I know.
I'm not bothered, actually.
I am. It's really starting to actually fuck me off. Like,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't think it matters at all. As we've said, it's not about the infected. But if you're going to have a show and an apocalypse, at least have some form of, I don't know, threat from this infection. Like, there is. I think every time that they have come across the infected, they are shown as a threat. But I think what they're trying to build into, and actually they talk about it early on in the show and in the game, that the infected isn't the real threat; it's the other people.
No, I know, and that's
the
same
threat
in the game as well. I'm not saying you need hundreds and stuff per episode, but even when there are meant to be, like, there are story moments where there are meant to be lots. There's either one or none, and it's just like, well, like, say what you will, but I kind of feel like in Left Behind, there are meant to be lots.
Yeah,
there are lots of them that come after Ellie and Riley.
Yeah.
That's why they get fucked up. But the fact that they managed to just, like, both of them, who are both been trained,
are still kids.
I know, but they are in training, and they get fucked up by one. Both of them get fucked up by one.
I mean, they didn't get fucked up. They got bitten. They won that fight.
Well, yeah, I know, but I mean, like,
taking some damage in the process. I wouldn't say it's being fucked up at all. They didn't lose that fight. They won that fight.
Well,
they did. They won that fight.
They didn't, because obviously Ellie didn't die. Turns out she's immune, but
Yeah, but only because of the. It takes all it takes is a scratch to lose the
I know,
fight.
but then,
if you're telling me that someone that's trained by military would be in a fight and not even take a scratch, like that, they'd take a scratch, they'd take a hit, like it would happen. And you're fighting at this point a wild animal essentially as well. You're not just fighting a sane human. You're fighting a completely inhabilitated wild creature.
Yeah, but. More like my thing with all these changes and just the removal of things is they've sold it in the game. So why can't they sell it in the show?
I have had that feeling with a number of things. Yeah.
But
this worked in the game. Why wouldn't it work in the show?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't an unbelievable thing in the game.
Yeah.
And it kind of like I have no reason to believe Ellie is capable of handling herself in the show. She's shown no evidence other than this episode. This episode she did. Obviously. But before that, did she? Has she? She hasn't shown any evidence really of being able to handle herself.
I don't think she does in the game.
Of course she does. She takes out multiple infected. She helps Joel kill loads of people throughout.
Well, she does that. Then I think you've got the episode with Sam and Henry.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Yeah. Fine. But like yeah. I don't know. It just I find. The more they keep changing the way Ellie's character goes forward and like doesn't really get involved in much, kind of is going to make it harder for them to sell part 2. I think. I don't know.
I haven't had that at all. I honestly haven't had that.
I don't believe that we have a person capable of looking after themselves, of handling themselves. Out of Ellie.
I would say at the moment though, Ellie isn't capable of looking after. She isn't. Like even in the game at this point, she isn't. She needs Joel. She's relying on Joel mentally, which is why she's not capable of looking after herself until Joel goes down, and then she doesn't have a choice. And I think this episode in particular has actually shown she is capable of handling herself because she got out of that on her own. That whole thing she dealt with,
and it's exactly the same as in the game. But I mean,
I would say even more so in the game because in the game, Joel comes and finds her and grabs her in the burning building.
See. Rich was saying this earlier, but I've never seen that as a Joel saving Ellie. He just got there 2 seconds.
He's saving her emotionally.
Well, yes, I know, but he does that here as well.
Yeah, but also what happens here in this one, which I think what takes the difference, is that she gets herself out completely. She is out of that building and clear. She has done more than just win the fight. She's also got herself out of the burning building, away from the city. She is safe.
So the difference is she opened the door this time as opposed to...
but
like...
I think the implication there is still clear that she's got herself safe. She's done that.
Yeah, but I got that from the game as well. So I'm not saying that anything is worse or whatever in the show in this particular instance. I'm just saying that's exactly what I got from the game as well.
That's fair. That just depends on how you take the.
Well, yeah, it is absolutely how I took it. I just like Joel going into the building as opposed to meeting outside. It makes for what I get from. That from a story-wise, thematically, is no different whatsoever. Because Ellie did handle herself the entire time.
She
solved the problem. The problem was over when Joel arrived in that burning building, like in the building. Like, it was done. Like Joel didn't do anything. Obviously, he grabbed her back to reality, but that's what he did in the. He did that in the show as well. He brought it back down to reality. So the difference was she just wandered off in a fugue state. That's literally all the only difference. And fair, I get what they were going for, but it was just for me. That's never what I never took that as a Joel savior.
All I was really going for here is just that I think within this episode she shows she can handle herself because now she has to. Now Joel's gone down, she's shown she has to handle herself, so she will, and she's doing it because also she needs to do it for Joel. So I think sort of the argument of saying we're not seeing any evidence of her being able to handle herself.
No, I said until this. I also said until this episode.
Well, there you go. Then that's it. That's it. Set up for the next season. I'd say. I think that's more than enough because I think I honestly think in the game up until this point, you don't really get that implication of her being able to handle herself because even the situations that you're talking about they're gameplay sections, so they're things that you're doing, like. And all really Eddie does in these gameplay sections, for the most part, is throw a few bricks.
Oh, that's more referring to the one when she was a sniper. But
yes, for sure, fine. But I think by what they did in the episode with Sam and Henry and her kind of saving Sam and Henry from under the car and taking out a couple of...
For sure, I will admit I forgot about that. But
I think that is more than enough to set up that when she needs to, she's capable. But then is almost a deliberate contrast that when she's with Joel, she's more reliant on Joel, even in an emotional sense, that she does need Joel because if she's emotionally unstable and she needs that, so she can't look after herself because if she wants Joel to do it. And I think that's something they've been setting up since early on, to be fair. I think in one of the first or second episodes I said about that for me, I'm getting the clear implication that she's looking for a protection from someone. She's looking for a protector. And all the while she's got Joel right there, she's got a protector. She doesn't need to keep herself alive. The protector will do it. But then the tides turn and now she needs to keep herself alive. So yeah, I'm still getting that personally.
Fair. I just, I think it's always been the case, and we've said this many times. The lows for me are much lower than they are for you, so that the highs have got a lot more work to do. Currently, I'd give the show about a 7
overall.
Yeah.
Wow, that seems very harsh for me.
No, so that's just, the highs aren't high enough to bring up the lows for me.
I do wonder, and obviously we'll never know, but I do wonder how much of it just comes from how well you know the source material.
Possibly, no, but that doesn't change anything. Like that's still where I sit on the show.
No, I know. I just mean as a talking point. I just find it's an interesting theory or an interesting hypothesis of how that might change. Could there be a reality where you don't know the source material and you're watching the exact same show and you're walking away from it going, this is 9, 10 out of 10 because you're not... I think a lot of the... Not all of, but a lot of the complaints you've brought up are comparisons to the show.
Of course they are.
Sorry, comparisons to the game.
Yeah, I know what you meant.
As opposed to actual critiques of the show within itself, within a bubble. Some of it is critiques of the show within the bubble, and I think on those ones we mostly agree. Mm-hmm. Like, I think we pretty much agree on all the things are actually critiquing the show as it is. We pretty much agree on them. The difference is when it comes up between the stuff that's more of a comparison to the game. And don't get me wrong, I still have my hang-ups as well, and there are many things where I have this uncanny valley, like, oh, that's a bit different.
But so far,
I missed that bit. And
so far, it's like almost 50% of the show that I would just like cut, like get rid of entirely. Not even just alter, it's just get rid of. Not obviously 50% of the show is utter hyperbole, but
yes, I know.
But like, there's so much.
Sorry, quick side note: just rocking an old school press start.
You are. Yeah, I haven't seen that in a long time.
I forgot I still had it. Got a little seared on the arm.
But obviously, both the cold opens at the beginning are necessary to get rid of. I think. Right, in the grand scheme of the story, episode 3 isn't needed. It's very good, but it's not relevant to anything. Then all the stuff, all the fucking guff with military woman. Get rid of
yes,
all
I
of
hated
that.
military woman.
Get rid of all of that. Get rid of all the stuff from the beginning of episode, whatever it was, 5, for Sam and Henry. Get rid of the beginning of that. Just pick up immediately from the end of episode 4 with the gunpoint. Don't need any of the guff beforehand because it's not relevant. Since then, granted, it's been pretty on point. They've managed to stay on track. We already know they're not staying on track for the finale, and it's the shortest episode.
We'll see. We'll see how
we
they
will.
handle it.
We
I mean,
will.
I definitely have my issues with it, but I've personally, I think they've pretty much pulled it off otherwise. And a lot of that still comes, a lot of my feelings there come from when I've spoken to people that are watching it that haven't played the game, that don't know the game, or I'm looking at people's reactions that haven't played the game. They are getting the exact same thing out of it that I got out of it when I played the game. For me, that is just showing that overall they've pulled it off. Overall, they've pulled it off because of the audience that don't know are getting the right experience. And I think it's always going to be hard. I'd say, actually, I'd argue impossible to really get it where you're going to please absolutely everyone. And I think the people that know the game, and like us, that really know the game and care for the game and care for those characters and are really attached to it. And, again, speaking broadly, but for myself in particular, it's like, I love this IP. I love this franchise. I love that story. And I really care for those characters. Which is where I think Naughty Dog is so good at creating that, because no one else really does that in games, for me at least. So then those people are always always going to find it hard to detach themselves from that with the show and with anything else. I think that happens across multiple things. You see it all the time. You saw it with Harry Potter. People that were obsessed with and loved those books and really cared about the minutiae of those books. And then the films come along, and even the first two films that are actually fairly accurate, there's still complaints about, well, they changed this line, or they changed this thing, or this isn't right. And it's because it is difficult as a person to detach yourself from something you care about when there's a new version, and it always feels odd. Much like when you hear a cover of one of your favorite songs, it always feels not quite right. Even if it's a fucking excellent cover, it's like, it's still not quite right. Something's not quite right with it. And I think that's always going to be hard to do. And I think for me, I went into this show almost knowing that was going to be the case. Knowing that there's some things that are going to be different, and that's going to be fucking weird for me, but I just need to watch this as its own thing and try and put the game out of my head as much as I can and just focus on what I'm being given as a bit of TV. Which is why the only real complaints I have are the ones where I feel like the actual TV show is hindered. So the poor bits of writing, the characters that don't add anything, the weird pacing issues here and there, the moments, you say, of like the military woman and that kind of stuff. That's like, this is not only not adding anything, it's not interesting. That's where the only things where I'm finding real error or real issue. Everything else I can quite happily just take it for what it is and enjoy it, which is why those lows aren't as low for me, because I think I've already tried to detach myself.
And I have largely detached. Well, I know it's the game. I've still got the game. I don't care what This is the show. That's fine. I don't have to participate in it going forward. Yes. I've still got the games, and that probably will be the case. I probably won't watch it again, but yeah, I just still find like that doesn't make it, my thoughts on this any less relevant.
No, of course not. No, of course not at all.
But yeah, I'm sure everyone who hasn't played the game does feel differently, because they don't know that the stuff that is just wasting your time is wasting your time.
Yeah.
Because like honestly, what did the 20 minutes at the beginning of episode 5, like a day in the life of Sam and Henry, what did that add? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
No, I agree.
You could have used that time to develop things that were actually in the game and develop the relationship between, I think, like toward at least like the first 2/3 of this show, they forgot that this entire fucking show is meant to be about Joel and Ellie. The entire show is meant to be about them. None of the backstories and lives of these other characters matter. And I feel like you can do that in a game. And I feel people, for some reason, just have decided you can't do that in a show.
Yeah,
and there needs to be other characters and other through lines and this. I was like, no, there fucking doesn't.
It's the same thing we said about, or a similar thing to what we said about Uncharted with the movie when that came out and the trailer. And I said, what's weird for me about this trailer is they've completely changed, for me, the tone and the feel of what Uncharted is. And why? What that was worked in the game, so why would it not work as a... Although they're different mediums, things like that translate still.
It's because these things, these games are the closest to movies and TV that we're ever going to... like that we have, we're going to get, and Naughty Dog will continue to do that. And I'm sure that's going to continue as we get season 2 of The Last of Us, and as we get an inevitable sequel to the Uncharted movie. Then like we're going to see more and more of it. But it's just like, why? It's the reason is the people who make these things have no idea what they're fucking doing and what they're adapting. Last of Us less so, because obviously Neil Druckmann is involved. But Uncharted, like, that was clearly just made by a team of people who had never even fucking heard of the games. Like, where was Neil Druckmann on that one? Like,
yeah. I mean, also, as if to prove your point as well, I know you've not been listening to the Companion podcast, but basically everything that's been a change or a big difference of the game has been Craig Mazin's idea.
Yeah, of course it has.
And not Neil Druckmann's, and essentially just Craig Mazin twisting Neil Druckmann's arm into one way or another. And although he may have got Neil Druckmann's approval, it's not something that Neil Druckmann would have ever done himself.
No.
And I would love to see just Neil Druckmann's version of this show without someone else
really
coming in and hindering.
I would really like Craig Mazin out of...
Yeah, fair.
And just have Neil Druckmann do, like...
I actually think I would like that as well.
Because, like, do you know why we know he can do it?
because he did
can do it because he did it. Yeah, he did it. He did it in a more comprehensive way than you will ever have to do it. Like, yeah, sure, there are going to be some limitations and some new things he's going to have to learn because he can't just change the weather in post, like and things like that. Well, as you can do with completely digital environments and characters and this, that, and the other. But he directed these stories. He also had to direct storytelling while you're in the middle of fucking fighting and just wandering around and exploring, and had to direct, oh, we're going to have this pendant here and this letter here and all that kind of stuff. So, like, way more deep and, like, intense version of directing than this guy's ever done. And we're trusting the guy who did Scary Movie 4. Like, sure, yes, he did Chernobyl as well, but that was, like, he's not fucking around with someone's pre-existing story. Well, yes, okay, fine, Chernobyl happened, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but Chernobyl happened. It's not someone's story. It's not someone's idea.
But I'm not surprised that all the things that I don't like have come from Craig Mazin, to be perfectly honest with you. But yeah. So, this has been very negative, but I did actually like this episode.
Well, let's talk more about what you liked then. Tell me more about what you liked about this episode.
I just think it was... it stuck to the game.
It did stick to the game. It's quite a close one to the game.
And they changed a couple of bits and bobs and here and there. But one thing actually that I felt really weird, I found Troy Baker very distracting.
Because you know it's Troy Baker?
Because I know it's Troy Baker. That's definitely an element of it. An element uncontrollable. Yeah. That's not a critique. But some of it was because he was giving me stronger Joel vibes than Pedro Pascal has ever.
Because he leans into... There's a couple of times where he leans into Joel's voice a little bit.
Yeah, and he's just like... The mannerisms and the way he moves... Like, he is Joel.
But that's the thing. He is Joel. So it's really...
So I was just watching this going... Why wasn't he just Joel?
I said that like a year and a half ago.
I know, and I agreed with you. We disagreed on you saying Ashley Johnson could play Ellie. And
She could have done.
No, she could not have done.
We'll find out next week. If next week after Ashley Johnson you go, fuck yeah, that's Ellie. That's more Ellie than Bella Ramsey ever is.
Well, yes and no.
Then you can buy me a cookie.
No, like, I'm not talking about mannerisms and perform. Obviously, she can perform as Ellie. She is Ellie. So obviously she's going to come across as Ellie. I've watched an animated show about Dungeons and Dragons that Ashley Johnson is in, and I've gone, that's Ellie.
That is going to be a problem next week because it is just Ellie. Like, I'm not going to be able to, because she's got such a distinctive voice as well. She's got a very distinctive voice. That's going to be a problem on next week's episode.
But also, like, the problem was she doesn't look 14.
Yes, I know. Hey, de-aging tech, man.
Then there would be
Michael Douglas de-aging tech.
Yeah, but then there would be no other actors because all the money's been spent.
Doesn't need to be. It's supposed to be no other characters in it. It means they might not have done fucking Kathleen Woman.
That is true. I would give anything to remove Kathleen Woman from... I think everyone who watched that deserves compensation.
Back on track. I just think, although just a side part, I think that Troy Baker was really fucking good.
He was.
He's a really good actor.
He very much is.
He's very subtle little stuff. I like watching Troy Baker. I would happily watch more things with Troy Baker in.
I agree. I think he needs to do more in person.
He also got fucked up.
Well, James did in the game as well.
I know, but still, like, we linger on him sitting there just bleeding out for a while. Mm-hmm. And like when David then just pulls the axe out of his neck and this shot just still lingers on him with just blood just bubbling out of him. It's like, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. So this show seems to not really be about episode 8 at all. But because I want to say the amount of time they gave Troy Baker in this episode is what worries me about.
I understand.
Because it's like you've gone you're dead. So like, oh no, don't get me wrong. She's Abby. Remember? It's just that before Last of Us Part 2 came out, everyone said Abby was Ellie's mum.
Oh, I see. No one knew what they were doing with that.
No one had any of that. To be fair, no one was supposed to know at that point. But anyway, this episode, as I said, I thought Troy Baker was really good. I think Even though there was a couple of changes, but I think the changes were absolutely fine. I think the performance of David was excellent.
I really liked David in this. I really liked him.
No, he was very good. He was very good.
There's a couple of times where he even sounded a bit like Nolan North as well, just a little bit. This sequence in the burning beef steak restaurant,
in the burning beef,
was real fucking cool because the imagery of it was identical to the game.
Yeah.
And like you see the restaurant early on in the episode, and I was like, that's the place where the shit's gonna happen later.
Place and it's gonna be on fire.
It was like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme. But like that imagery of that, because that actually the gameplay in this section for me is one of the worst bits of the game.
It's fucking infuriating.
Like, because it's a fucking stupid mechanic they put in. But they even kind of did that of her like sneaking around and as he's being all creepy, and he went down into that weird fucking crouch as well. Like, and I really liked that that they kind of did that as a little nod. And I actually quite like how quickly they just got to her fucking him up, because in the game you have to do like 4
you've got to do it 3 times,
like,
and obviously you can't do that.
But they just went straight in.
Thankfully, TVs don't have the rule of 3.
I also like that they kept a lot of the direction here much the same. Of just, you don't really see what's happening. Your just camera's just looking up at her while she's just going ham with just blood flying everywhere, and as I say, it never really kind of.
God, imagine his face.
Unrecognizable as a human, I should imagine.
Jam is No.
What is helpful though for David's clan is that he is pre-cooked.
They don't know they're eating people though.
Some people do.
Oh yeah, well, a couple of people do. One of them is
one of them's James, but so one of the other people preparing the meat knew. Remember, because he brought in it was it's venison. He knew.
Oh yeah,
someone.
Was that
not Nick Scarpino?
I thought that was Nick Scarpino.
Who got fucked up by Joel.
Yeah.
Maybe no one knows anymore.
Oh, maybe they're all going to starve.
Fuck them.
That's what happens when you join a religious cult.
Yeah, I did like the bit where Denny's like, sounds like a cult to me. He's like, you got me there. I liked that. I liked all of the sequences with David personally. Like, I know there's that thing, the differences between him and the game, but I really enjoyed this.
As I was saying, like, I don't actually mind them. It was just I'm quite curious as to why they decided to remove any form of subtlety. But maybe that we're just accepting that TV audiences are stupider, and by stupider I mean clinically moronic. But I do wish there was at least something to do with the whole massive section to do with the infected in this bit. Not like a big old bit, because obviously again
I was expecting it when they were for those who don't know, when Ellie and David are with the deer waiting for James to come back with the medicine, they end up getting into a fight with a whole fucking bunch of infected for a while, which in the game is done as a way of making you trust David, because you'll then have to go for a whole section, and he saves you for a big chunk of it and looks after you and has your back, which is what makes you trust David in the game. In this, they kind of built the trust in different ways. They just did the trust with dialogue, and with him kind of opening up to her was the way they did it.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as... I feel like you could have done both. Again, even if you had just one, I wasn't expecting like a bloater to show up. But like, you could have had like 1 or 2 break in. So like one of them just like grabs Ellie or something, and he just shoots him. And then you could have had that. You had another gun, and all of that. But yeah, just decided to chop it out again. Chop it out. I'll be very curious, because I feel like the infected play a larger role in part 2. So I'll be curious. They're still not the focus, so I do kind of feel like they'll probably just be chopped by the wayside again. But they do play a larger role.
I'm really not bothered by the absence of the infected. I think a lot of the time in the games, the infected is there just for something to murder.
Oh yeah. I'm not
always.
saying there needs to be like there all the time, but I feel like they're a big. I'm not saying like all the in between bits where there's just 1 or 2 infected or whatever, but there are set pieces which I feel like are important, because they also include quite a bit of the character development and the growth between Joel and Ellie in those moments, in those set pieces. Obviously, you lose the bit the first time where Ellie has to try and save Joel, which is the dangling upside down bit. Obviously, we lost that because of
Billstown.
Billstown was completely changed. We didn't get this. I know this isn't infected, but we didn't get the sniper bit of that element of. But Ellie being the sniper, I mean, we obviously got the actual sniper bit. In that regard, we didn't get the bit in the sewers with Sam and Henry. We could have done, but they spent 20 minutes before they even fucking met him. And now we don't get this part as well. I feel like there are big set pieces that are actual character moments that have just been lost.
Game-wise, there isn't actually any more infected-based set pieces after this, really.
Not set pieces. There's Under the Bridge.
There's Under the Bridge.
There's the Underpass.
Which is just in the game, it's just a monster closet.
This is. It's a, or a stealth thing. I tend to do it as a stealth thing because there are like
no, but I mean, like, it's just there as here's a section of combat. It's not adding anything.
No. So that can go. That's fine. Yeah. Or if you wanted to like combine it with the, I won't spoil it. Oh, I wonder how they're going to do it because they haven't really. They did, but they haven't really. It hasn't come up again. So I'm curious.
No, she can't swim.
Yes.
I think they can still do it the same way.
Oh, yeah, they can, yeah. Yeah.
They've mentioned she can't swim. That's what they needed to do.
No, yeah. But yeah, that you can kind of combine that bit and say, like, I mean, the bus bit is like an infected in there or something, just as whatever. You can kind of combine the two. But otherwise, yeah, there aren't really any need for them next week, unless obviously something to do with.
It'll be something to do with Ashley Johnson.
Ashley Johnson, yeah. I think I might have just had a fucking brainwave.
I think I've just had the same brainwave. We'll discuss in a minute. They're still going to work.
Yes, I know, but they're far away from me.
They're still going to work.
I can't fucking hear this. Yes, they can now do it. It's fine. But there's no one fucking here anyway.
So we're not spoiling anything. It's a theory.
Yeah.
If we're on the same page of the theory, we're not spoiling anything.
No, it is utterly a theory because this character isn't even in the game at all. We're talking about Ashley Johnson, who's playing Ellie's mum. I think they're going for the why she's immune.
Yeah, that's exactly what I just thought of as well.
I think Blade. It's exactly the same.
Pretty
as
much, yeah. Fair enough.
I think that's what's happened. I think.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that as well. Like, it's one of those, again, like one of the mysteries was we don't know this, and Ellie's not going to know this, so I kind of feel like we shouldn't know this. But again, doesn't matter. I'm okay with it. That's fine. This is one of those but that's more of a. This is why you don't have outside things because we're following two characters, and it feels dumb if we know things that the character doesn't. Because then, if they make decisions that's contradictory to the information we know, but they don't know, it just seems like a stupid decision and makes it fucking nonsensical. Yep. That's why you don't give the audience information that the characters don't fucking know. I was right in 101.
Agreed.
Maybe 102. I feel like spelling should be right in 101, really. But anyway.
Overall, I still think it's pretty fucking good. I really like The Last of Us. I'm really enjoying the show. I know there's some weird quirks.
To be fair, I do think the last 3 episodes have been top-notch.
Yeah, there's so much this I fucking loved. Thoroughly enjoyed. And I just like Pedro Pascal. I like how everyone at the moment is just in love with Pedro Pascal. He's everywhere online.
Yeah, it'll be someone else soon.
I like that he's the internet's daddy. I'm enjoying it. And all of the things I've seen him appear on, because he's popular, so he's on everything, he's excellent.
I still need to watch his Hot Ones that came out today.
I've watched some of it, but I enjoyed that. I do enjoy his SNL thing. Can I speak Spanish?
I speak Spanish. Oh my god!
It's very funny. I've just seen many things. Have you seen
Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent?
It's also very good. Yeah. Have you seen? I was watching an interview with him, and it was like a BBC interview or something like that, and they were saying about how do you feel about being the internet's daddy, and have you heard the term Dadalorian?
Oh yeah. Do you prefer Dadalorian or Man Dadalorian? Yeah.
And I liked at the end of that they kind of did the. SNL voice at the end of it.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoyed that. Have you seen him on Radio X with Chris Moyles?
No.
They play a game. This is, by the way, is a brilliant game. We should steal it. Where they are listening to someone has said a phrase, and they're listening to the phrase in reverse, and then they have to try and recreate the sound of what the phrase is in reverse, and then they play that in reverse, so the right way round, and see how close it is to the actual word.
Okay, yeah.
That was highly entertaining with Pedro Pascal doing that. That was highly entertaining, and also it just seems like a great game. I want to do it.
What's great is obviously we've just, for some reason, like the stars have aligned because we've just had so much like interview stuff, because he's gone from the press junket for The Last of Us pretty much immediately into The Mandalorian. So it's just so much. He must be fucking knackered.
He's also minted. So.
Oh well, yes. He's fucking richer than God.
I saw a thing with him. It was like
Did you see them? You know that Nicolas Cage Pedro Pascal meme that's been going along with the music, whereas one of them going HBO trying to figure out the budget for The Last of Us with Nicolas Cage, and then it just turns to Pedro Pascal being paid $600,000 to lie down for 3 episodes.
I saw a clip of, it was like a Comic-Con style panel thing with Pedro, Dave Filoni, and Jon Favreau. And Pedro's talking about Mandalorian, and when he was saying that he was called in by John to do something Star Wars. And he was like, okay, great. And he said, I walked in this room and just saw all this screenplay storyboarding of Mandalorian. He's like, and obviously I was born in like 1975 or whatever year it was. He's like, so I grew up on Star Wars. I was raised on Star Wars. So I was just like, oh wow, look, this is amazing. He's like, who am I going to play? Am I going to play that bug, or am I playing this droid? And they're like, oh no, you're the Mandalorian. And it's just like, oh. But when we were in Disneyland Paris last week, because Mandalorian Season 3, obviously they don't have a Star Wars section properly in Disneyland Paris. The closest they have is an old ride that was from before they had the Star Wars license, that they've just shoehorned the Star Wars license into and put an X-Wing on top of the building. They're building Galaxy's Edge in Paris at the moment. But because Mandalorian was there starting the day before we arrived for 2 weeks only. He was there with Grogu doing a meet and greet, first time in Disneyland Paris. The queues to meet him were obnoxious. I was like, I'm not doing that. I basically said, I was standing watching him being over there, fucking cool costume and whatnot, and the people queuing up. And I was like, do you want to queue to meet Mando? I was like, unless it's actually Pedro Pascal, no, because that queue is obnoxious. And then I had a moment of thinking. I was like,
what if it is?
Because that shit happens.
Yeah.
It happens all the time, where like Disney do these kinds of promotions where they have a character out for a select amount of time because there's a special event, and it's like Tom Holland's done it, Johnny Depp's done it, like loads of them.
Johnny Depp was actually on
the ride.
I know. That's cool as fuck. That's so cool. Yeah.
So like I was like, what if it is? And I was like, maybe I do. And then I saw that he was in like another country doing something else, so doing another press junket. I was like, it's not him. I don't care. I'm not queuing. I'm out.
Yeah, but that doesn't surprise me that it wasn't him, because watching interviews and stuff, it has kind of become apparent that he's very rarely in that suit.
Yes,
it is incredibly rarely him, and I'm just like, do I respect you a little less? Because like, this isn't you. You voiced it. You did VO for it 7 months later or whatever. Like, you did that a week ago, didn't you? Like, you did that on your phone. That's why it's all like, that's what the modulation actually is. It was just recording
there on his iPhone.
Yeah, like, this is the way. Champagne. Like, this is the something about dark sabers. But yeah, I'm just,
Ellie.
wrong show. Shit. Yeah, he was literally on set for The Last of Us.
Just while he was lying down in that dungeon.
Yeah,
in that basement. Just
this is the way. But it's just like, come on, like actors are like, it's the same with RDJ. Like, as soon as it got to a point where, like, 2 or 3 movies in, as soon as Iron Man's mask came down, he wasn't there anymore. Mm-hmm. I was just like, come on, put the effort in. Come on, you can put the effort in.
Anyway, I'm going to sidetrack now. I went on this fucking awesome ride in Disneyland Paris. That's new, because it was in the Avengers campus, which of course I've not been to before. Real cool, by the way, because you walk in, it was playing the Avengers theme tune, and you know what that music does to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just walking around Disneyland Paris with a rock on.
I could feel it.
And this is a Spider-Man ride. And I knew it was called Spider-Man Web Slingers. I knew it was some kind of web shooty thing. I knew nothing more than that. I didn't know how it worked. And it works it works annoyingly well. Basically, you get in this little cart, you get some 3D glasses on. The cart puts you in front of these big 3D screens. And essentially just using fucking Kinect cameras that actually work. You don't do anything else. You literally web sling. And you're just sitting in the car, and it's you just do this. You're not holding anything. You're not strapped into anything. It's just motion sensors, these big fucking 3D screens, and you have to just fight all these little spider bots and stuff. But you can like shoot, but you can also like grab and pull them back and throw them, and you can like pull things down from the walls and stuff. And because of it's so hands-on, just like whoa, it just felt great. I was like, I am fucking Spider-Man. This is fucking amazing. And like different color, they had to like basically just destroy all these spider bots that were taking over, and there's different color spider bots, and then they're different color ones get you more points and whatnot, and you get different combos. It's a video game. And like Gavin, Sharon, and Camilla just didn't work it out at first, and I was just like, bah, 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 and I came off and like, fucking amazing, I'm Spider-Man, and they were like, I don't really get what you were supposed to do. I was like, you just fucking shoot the web. So we went back on it again, but I'd explain what to do, so then Camilla was better than me.
Oh dear.
That's the end of my story.
Oh dear.
We also went on the Buzz Lightyear shooting ride, which I've been on many times before, which Camilla's normally better than me at. I've just learned to accept that. She's annoyingly good at shooting things. I've learned to accept it. She always beats me on the shooting things at these places. We went on that, and Gavin and Sharon's car didn't work. Their guns weren't working, so that's a shame. We'll go back on it again another time then, so you can actually have a go. And Camilla had destroyed me on that go. We went on it again. Gavin and Sharon's guns working. I was like, I can't let Camilla beat me every time. I need to switch it the fuck on. So I engaged. And I'd racked up, like, by the end of it, I'd racked up a score of like 188,000, something like that. Camilla was not beating me. She was just below me, 170 something. Turned to the car behind, it was Gavin and Sharon in. So what did you get, Gavin? He was, 130,000. Sharon, she just looked at us and went, 8,000. It's like, you know what you were supposed to do? She was like, no. It's like, you just shoot. You have a gun. You just shoot the targets. So you have to do. Which ones were the targets? The targets. They look like targets. Didn't get it, bless her.
Dearie me. I need to go somewhere. I need some.
I'll take you. I promise I'll take you. If we can find some money, I'll take you.
So, no then.
I appreciate there's a pretty strong caveat.
Yeah. We need to find money. I need a holiday.
I'll take, to be honest, it's probably not worth you going until they've built the rest of the stuff, because half of it is a construction site currently.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying I'm going to go right now.
Yeah, I would say wait, and then when they've opened the Star Wars thing, because the Avengers Campus area is quite small. It's 2 rides and 2 restaurants, and then a meet and greet with the Avengers, which the queues, you have to pre-book it basically because it's new, so you fucking good luck getting in there. We went up to it, and they're like, have you pre-booked? No. And we're like, you will get a space in like 3 months. I'm like, oh. Fair enough. I was like, the only character meet and greet I wanted to do was to meet Captain America. I was like, fine, do that another time. But I say the Avengers Campus bit's quite small. It's just, there's 2 restaurants and there's 2 rides. And one of them's a really extreme roller coaster, which even I won't go on. Although Camilla said it was fucking cool, to be fair. So it's probably worth waiting until the Star Wars bit's open as well.
Oh, yeah.
So you get more out of your trip.
I mean, there's no chance of it. No way I'd have a fucking chance to go before then anyway, because everything costs money.
Well,
I seem to get paid in lentils.
To give you context, we paid about £700 a person.
God, there's so much money.
Yeah, but your VR was $570.
Yeah, I know, but I get that forever.
I'm just saying that, like, you managed to, in the space of on a whim, find the money to buy the VR.
Oh, that's because I haven't paid for most of it.
Hey, you can probably work out a way of doing that with Disney as well. We took out a loan for Orlando, so it's plausible.
Yeah, Orlando, that's A, your honeymoon. B,
No, I'm just saying it's plausible to find the funds.
it's plausible, but it's more like what I could actually get holiday-wise for £700.
The happiest place on earth.
I disagree.
Ah, so you haven't been. I'll take you.
I have been.
But when you're like 12?
I've been to multiple times.
Oh, I thought you'd only been once.
No, I've been to Disneyland Paris multiple times, and I've been
apologise.
to
I thought you'd only
Orlando
been once
as well. I've been to Orlando once.
I apologise. That's what I was thinking.
I was 8.
Mm-hmm. When did you last go to Paris? See, your new depressed adult brain might find it the happiest place on earth.
That's true.
I know
probably
I did.
at least 15.
I know I did. I know as soon as I got there and walked into the hotel,
Time doesn't make any
like,
sense to me anymore. Time doesn't make any fucking sense to me because I don't know if you've noticed on Now TV, I've been watching a show called New Amsterdam.
No, I've not looked at what else is on Now TV at all.
Fair enough, but it's just to continue watching, but I don't know if you'd... So, I've been watching a show called New Amsterdam. This is a show I started watching fucking years ago, but it got to a point where they cancelled the finale of season 2 because it was going to kick off like this big, pandemic storyline.
Oh.
Just after COVID started.
I see.
So they just went, this probably isn't the time.
Pause.
Yes. So they just did a random episode and then obviously hiatus. So I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that show. They've probably come back and started season 3 now. Season 5 is finished. I just went, what? Doesn't make any fucking sense. What? I don't understand. So I've just been watching. I don't understand time. So it could have been 15 years ago. It could have been 25 years ago. Was the last time I don't fucking know.
Hey, all I know is
I
find it a happy place.
The only reason we know how old we are is because we're trusting somebody else that told us.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I'm not entirely convinced, if I'm honest.
No, neither am I. Some of the stuff my parents have said.
More just the way my body treats me.
Well, yes. Yeah, I'm pretty convinced that throw an extra 0 onto my name, and that's how long I've been kicking about. Fucking feels like it. Especially considering I'm pretty fucking convinced every shift at work is 3 years.
Camilla, bless her, because it was her 30th last week when we were away, and I've been saying about how old I feel, and she was like, I don't feel old at all, I actually still feel really young, and I was like, yeah, give it time, and then it was like the day after her birthday, of we'd spent 3 days walking around Disneyland, and we were walking back to the hotel, and she was fucked. She was like, my feet hurt, my toes are blistered, my legs hurt, my back hurts, my shoulders hurt. 30's coming at me hard. I was like, I fucking told you. I told you. Accept it.
Yeah, I'm long there. I've been there for a long time. I just feel like 30 is going to hit me mentally very hard, I think.
Been there.
Yeah, I feel like I might go to Beachy Head for my birthday.
Pretty sights, apparently.
What's going to wind in your face?
Some people call it drop dead gorgeous.
Hey,
Is that
so you get the wind in your face, a boulder down your throat.
Anyways, should we go?
Yeah. There's no one here to do anything. Bye-bye. Coming up on the channel, Saturday, we'll be talking about Captain America Civil War. Yeah, so do I. So do I.
It's too late to watch it now.
I disagree.
It's because Camilla won't watch it with me now, and then she'll complain she hasn't watched it with me.
No, it's not. Obviously, I would sit there and watch it with you. But
I know you would.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but obviously, yes, you've been...
My issue isn't watching it with you. That's not the issue. I have no issue watching it with you.
Oh, no, but you've been watching them with me.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah, no, I get it. I get it. This is the one benefit of solo living. There's only one.
Can eat what you want.
Do that anyway.
It's harder than you think.
But make your own food then.
You know, I say that a lot. But the cat's really fussy.
Do you know what? I need someone who doesn't eat badly. That's what I need. And then they can, if they're then in charge of food, that's fine.
Anyway, Saturday, Civil War.
Saturday, Civil War. Tomorrow, there will be a gaming stream with Father himself.
I'll be watching Civil War. No offense, Rich.
Yes, I need to watch Civil War.
I need to watch it.
Because I forgot, quite frankly, until this very moment that I needed to watch Civil War.
I didn't forget. I just had to watch Ant-Man as well. I didn't get a chance to watch that until this week.
Yeah, you could have skipped it.
Oh no, I wanted to watch it. I like Ant-Man.
Fair enough.
I wanted to watch it. And
Fair
you know,
enough.
we're watching them all through. I didn't want to miss one.
Yeah, no, to be fair, I didn't talk about it on the show really, but watching Ant-Man 1 again made me realise all the problem, like more
More the problems of Ant-Man 3?
Yeah.
Big time.
No, 'cause I'm just like, but because Ant-Man has such great potential, and they showed that potential in this movie, but then
I think in the second one they did as well.
not so much. I feel like it's got
I think
lesser returns as it's gone on.
I think the potential of what you can do with that character, though, I think they do more with in number 2. Like,
definitely more than in 2 than they do in 3.
Yeah.
100%. Well, because the whole thing's in the quantum realm, so everything's small.
Everything's small. Yeah, it just takes. The most interesting thing about Ant-Man is the whole.
He can get small.
Yeah, and then all the shots of him being small and the massive world is fucking really interesting to look
cool.
at.
And yeah, they do bits where he's big, but it's not quite the same.
Yeah, it's not as cool.
We have that movie. It's called Godzilla. But we're not sure what he's playing. There was rumor and speak of a Resi 4 demo coming out today.
Okay.
So if that's the case, he may well be playing that. If not, fuck knows. That'll be one of those last minute decisions Rabbit Hole is famous for. Famous. That'd be nice. Money, please. Next week.
So I can buy a VR.
Yeah, and mainly so I can quit my hellhole of a employment situation before I quit life. And then next week, of course, we'll be back for the finale. The finale of Last of Us. How has it been 9 weeks?
I know. Time. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, I'm wasting away. Well, I wish I was wasting away. My life is wasting away, is what's happening. Like, what is the point?
Disneyland.
But I can't afford Disneyland, so like, what is the point?
Yeah, but then you have a VR. I also want a VR.
You have a house. I'd like one of those.
Yeah, I do have a house. Yeah. I mean, plummet you into even more debt is what it does.
Yeah.
More stress.
Yeah. But
In hindsight, if I could mooch off my mum, I would. That's why I often go over there for free lunches.
that's fair. I don't get to mooch. I just have a small room in which I can reside. Just have to pay for everything.
That's true.
My mum's great idea to the Wi-Fi thing, the broadband,
Was to cancel it.
Was to not have broadband. I was like, Mother, I would sooner sell you to some. I would trade you for a camel faster than I would not have broadband. Do you understand? How do you understand? So I'm having to pay for that. They'd be like, you haven't paid for this month's of broadband yet. I was like, because I don't have it. I'm not paying you for a month of broadband I'm not using. Thank you very much. Anyway, bye.